see. Oh yeah. Be the change that you want to see right now. Be the change that you want to see. The changes start with you. Be the change that you want to see. The change that you want to see. Be the change. Be the change that you want to see. The change that you want to see. Be the change. The change that you want to see. The change that you want to see. Be the change 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 you want.
Well, so that there was a little compilation, not one I put together, oh god no, from courtesy of, let me see if I can get the name of them, from, where are they, yeah, from Equalities Education Services, GCC, right, or Education is Glasgow, as their Twitter handle goes. I've made videos in the past about these individuals, or they've been included within videos that I've made. They have me blocked on Twitter now, so obviously if I'm using the computer, I've got my alternative Twitter account, as do I on my phone, but on this laptop here, the laptop that doxed myself, or doxed me even, last week by showing my face in a webcam, it automatically signs into my Resisting the Lies Twitter account, and as I said, I'm blocked there. But nonetheless, you get the gist. That effectively, this is a sort of organisation that works across the board in many of Glasgow's schools, promoting everything from LGBT propaganda to diversity training and all the usual nonsense. And here's a few other examples before I get into what I wanted to talk about today in this video. So this is a tweet that came out very recently as well, courtesy of their Twitter account. As you can see, it was retweeted by them. So excited to reveal the launch date of our new Learning for Sustainability resource. 27th of September 2022 during Scottish Climate Week. Details on our new Twitter account launching on the same day. Oh, isn't that jolly, swell, progressive, bold and fucking brave. Learning for sustainability, of course, is a subject that's not exactly new to me, but it shouldn't be new to you either at this point if it is, because learning for sustainability is incorporated in the parameters of Agenda 2030/Agenda 21. This is about propagandising our youth to get them ready for the future that's going to be green and inclusive and sustainable. The UN's wet dream, pardon my French. You know, learning for sustainability, learning for a better world, global citizenship, sustainable development education, which is learning for sustainability. Then we've got this one as well, the tweet in question, Equalities Education Services, Glasgow. There's a lot of learning going on in Glasgow. Come and see and chat and learn. And obviously the text is in the way here, but it does say at the bottom, P5 to S4. P5s, eh? And they're going to be promoting anti-racism again, together in education, you know, decolonising the curriculum, interactive, diverse texts, celebrating our learning, you know. Oh, Bonnie! Oh, they've got the nerve to refer to the term Bonnie. Isn't that sweet? Isn't that cultural appropriation, some may say? I don't know. Anyway, getting back up to where this video was initially shared. Where the fuck is it? Here we go. We come to the comments section, okay? I highlighted something very particular to somebody that I want to show again. This here. Dear white parents, we can raise an anti-racist generation. Talk to your children about racism early and often. Then around the sides it says, how was race invented? What is racism? What is oppression? Why are people shouting Black Lives Matter? Allyship and anti-racism. Well, why don't we have a look at, and this God's honest truth, will be the first time I've looked at it too, but it's been bugging me since I've seen it. Now, this is apparently a film that came out. Admittedly, I haven't heard of it before, and from what I've seen so far, I mean, just say there, watch full film. I'm not doing that in real time. The only reason that I'm bringing this up, because I'm assuming, and I might be wrong with my assumptions here, but I'm assuming that this is American. Hence the term BIPOC. It's more of a phrase you hear in America. But the reason that I'm bringing this up is because, as I said, it was included within that little compilation that was posted by an organisation, shall we say, who are intent on promoting everything they deem to be equality related in their attempts to stamp out inequality and to rid the world or Scotland of oppression and homophobia and misogyny, etc, etc, etc. These people work with primary school children as well as high school children. This venomous fucking poison, this ideology is sweeping across Scotland. They are completely exploiting their positions of power, quote unquote power, you know, their authority anyway. They're not there, or they shouldn't be there. They shouldn't exist to act freely and promote what they want, you know. There's supposed to be a structure. Scotland's supposed to have an education system. Oh, but I forgot, the Scottish wet wipe government just give the green light for all this shit. But just to go through a little bit of this, what is the film Dear White Parents? Now remember, when this might have been based in America or wherever it is, I'll watch a wee bit of the film and I say it after this, but this is now included within all of the different things that the Glasgow Educational Service wishes to promote, or is it already promoting? I don't know. As I said, I've made videos on them in the past before, and I've seen some of the nonsense they come away with. Anyway, out of necessity, Black, Indigenous, because Scottish people aren't Indigenous, and other people of colour have been discussing the challenges and harms of racism with their children for generations. The Dear White Parents film is a missive, a plea for white parents and families to join the effort to teach children to recognise and resist racism with the same candour, frequency and urgency as BIPOC families have for generations. Oh God, here we go. The video is a great opening for parents and families to talk about race and racism. Whether you watch the video as a family or have your child watch it on their own and discuss it later, use these open-ended questions to deepen the conversation. Remember not to judge the responses and to listen thoughtfully. Ask additional questions for understanding and share your own point of view when needed. Questions before watching the video. Oh, is this for me? Is this for me to answer? Oh, you're so thoughtful. From the title, Dear White Parents, what do you think the video will be about? What are your hopes and hesitations as you prepare to watch it? Well, I know what it's going to be about. It's going to be redefining terms such as racism. It's going to be, predicated on the victimhood status that you people have indulged in quite frequently. It's going to be browbeating, and it's going to be talking about the proverbial white privilege, etc, etc, how whites can't be racist because of your redefined terms, and effectively it's a means to attack white children. So if this Glasgow organisation are planning to incorporate this or have this shown in schools, whatever the case may be, or shown to teachers for teachers to then take what they've learnt from the film and, adapt their teaching methods or whatever it may be, it's an attack on Scottish children. The same way if this was played and taken into account in a Swedish county or a Swedish school, whatever, it's an attack on Swedish children. You know? Have you ever talked together as a family about race and racism? What was that like? I mean, what the fuck? Do you know that the sad thing is there is actually parents out here that will indulge in this, have already indulged in this, and will continue to indulge in this. But the point here is, these words, especially this word, the ever-expanding definition of racism, they've redefined that to such a point now where it's taken on a critical theorist-esque definition, in the sense that they now imply the system is racist, institutions are racist, everything is racist because of because of a lack of representation, because of things along the lines of disparities, anomalies, etc. It doesn't matter. Everything is racist. And the only way to achieve equality, which is equity, is to start to force in BAMEs into positions of power, to ensure that these disparities equalise or reduce in number, aka things along the lines of black only shortlists or BAME only shortlists, you know, for candidacy roles or for jobs, etc. It's the same method as the gender pay gap. Well, the only way to solve that mystery, nonsensical gender pay gap is obviously to promote more women or give women better, or give them promotions. Aye, promote more women or hire more women. Have you ever talked with others, friends, teachers, classmates about race and racism? Oh, just fuck off. Questions following the video, though. Oh, get out of my way. We have... As you watched the video, what thoughts and feelings came to mind? I mean, this is just nonsense. In the video, how do the parents respond when their children ask questions about racism? Oh my days. Did you know about the talk about racism that black families have with their children? But that's not our problem. You know, black people, by and large, create their own problem. One example being quickly that they will have the talk, if you will. And I don't believe every family has the talk, but they might. I don't know, I'm not black. But what they do is they tell their children that the police hate them, etc. The police are racist. So then whenever the day comes where this BAME might drive, he gets pulled over by the police, right? And then instantaneously, what his parents taught him or her parents taught her when she was young is reaffirmed. Oh, they were right. I've been pulled over because I is black. That's it. This is the talk that they have. They never take into consideration all the white people that are pulled over by the police. They never take into consideration all the white people in an American context who are killed by the police, or even in a British context. Never, ever, ever talk about that. No, because it doesn't make headlines. And because it doesn't make headlines, it never enters the consciousness of BAMEs. All they ever hear is what the media want them to hear, and what politicians want them to hear. And as a result, as an extension of that, it creates animosity that helps even further to solidify the narrative that is directly there in place to begin with to target white people. In this context, Scottish people. You know? Let's see what else there is. Bias, defined as an inclination or preference either for or against an individual or group that interferes with impartial judgment, is universal. This means that we all have bias and that biases are common. All people have developed biases through people in our lives, socialisation, school and exposure to different forms of media. Although the specific biases held by people may vary from person to person, bias leads to prejudicial thinking and discrimination, and it has a powerful influence on all of us. Bias is learned from the world around us, and while it cannot be entirely unlearned, it is possible to challenge prejudicial thinking and attitudes in ourselves, others and society, so that we can ultimately overcome those biases. Although the learning of bias is often an unconscious process, the undoing of bias requires conscious effort. Yeah, of course it does. It's important that we all make a concerted effort to undo the bias because it is so pervasive and impactful. Implicit bias can be particularly difficult to see because people are often unaware of their implicit biases, which make those biases harder to be aware of and overcome. You can do so by observing your own biases and stereotypes and ask yourself where that bias comes from. Let's take their implicit test. Yes, let's do that, shall we? Take the test. I'm up for that, aye. Well, maybe no if I have to... let me see a second. I've selected the race task. Yeah, see how racist I am, apparently. In this study, you will complete an implicit association test in which you'll be asked to sort pictures of words that I mean, this is really what people... There are some questions about your beliefs, attitudes and opinions and some standard demographic questions. Okay, fuck it. Well, I'm not telling you that, like, you can do one, eh? Where's my recorder gone? How much discrimination against black people do you feel there is today, limiting their chances to get ahead? None. How much of the racial tension that exists today do you think black people are responsible for creating? Some. It is really a matter of some people not trying hard enough. If black people would only try harder, they would just be as well off as white people. But see, this is what they do. I remember taking a white privilege test a long time ago. From the anti-racist educator, which is just poison, and all the questions were just framed in a way such as this: if black people would only try harder, they could be just as well off as white people. There's white people in America the same way there's white people here that are less well off than some BAMEs, and vice versa. It's not in their attempts to insinuate or imply that, oh, we're all equal and we need to stop the racism. Like, they generalise, they put everybody into categories. I find it fucking remarkable. This is ridiculous. How am I meant to answer that? But this is a sort of, it gives you an insight, if anything, into how, if this is, and this isn't the only example of this, as I said, the anti-racist educator, etc., they all do this, but they're showcasing this to to teachers, who in turn then take this nonsense into the classroom. This is not a fair question at all, nor is it even remotely accurate or adequate. So, somewhat agree, I'm going to have to say that. Because, whatever. I did think it. Generations of slavery and discrimination have created conditions that make it... No, I disagree. I'll say somewhat disagree, because there obviously will be still some in poverty and whatnot, but no. Over the past few years, BAMEs have gotten more economically than they deserve. Well, what does that mean? Do you mean gibs? Do you mean handouts? Or do you mean that they've excelled and done their own thing and they're making a better life for themselves? I'm going to have to say that. I don't fucking know. Over the past few years, BAMEs have gotten less than they deserve. What? I don't know what that means either. Some say that BAMEs have been trying to push too fast. Others feel they haven't pushed fast enough. What? Push too fast in what context? What the fuck? Trying to push very much too fast, going too slowly, or moving it right. So what about like a sort of middle ground between going, fuck it. Irish, Italian, Jewish, and many other minorities overcame prejudice and worked their way up. Black people should do the same. But you're assuming that this prejudice is they're so stuck in the past. It's ridiculous. Somewhat agree. Fine. If you want to pretend it's real, then fucking deal with it. Which statement best describes you? I strongly prefer European Americans. Well, I'm not American, so. Oh, for fuck's sake. I do. Yeah, I don't give a shit. In truth. How warm or cold do you feel? Well, I guess. I don't know. I'm not American, so. Which sex? Oh, fuck God's sake. What's your current gender identity? Well, oh yeah, I wonder why that is, eh? What's your race? I thought they were fake. See, like, even that. Like, see this as well. They don't even call you European. It's East Asian, or American Indian, South Asian, Native Hawaiian, or African American, white. It's like, oh, cheers, like, ethnicity. Well, I was Scottish, where's that? How many implicit tests have you? One. Oh, this is getting long now. How religious do you consider yourself to be? I mean, I think there's an afterlife and that. I'm not religious. What's your country? Oh, come on, fuck. Scotland! Did we get a Scotland like? No, we didn't. For fuck's sake, man. No, this is getting too long. I'm gonna pause it, sorry. I can't even get the thing to come up. You're taking the piss. Oh, you could fuck off for that, like. What the fuck? Oh, next I have to Use the E and I computer keys to categorise items and to get as fast as you can. Oh, fucking hell, this is getting ridiculous. I've gone so off topic here, like. Pay attention, E and I. Alright, aye. Oh, come on. Okay. What the fuck is this? Shit! Press it on button. Right, E is for bad and I is for good, alright, alright. Ah, shit! Shit! I thought it said terrible! Fucking hell! This is stupid. Use the key for African Americans for bad. Alright, aye, okay. What? What the fuck's this like? You want me to I mean, no. Oh, no. Fuck. What? Oh, I see what they're doing here. Look at this shit. This is how they manipulate people. So they themselves have put BAMEs and bad things into the same category. You know? Fucking hell. So the BAME's horrific apparently, you know? I never said that. Oh, this is stupid. Now, part 4 of 7. Now, come on. No, I'm not doing anymore, like. Let's get back to where I was. Sorry. Anyway, let me see. Let's just watch a wee bit of this video, I think. Let's find it. Watch the full film. Oh, happy fucking days, like.
The police officer, when he killed the black man, why didn't he go to jail?
Honestly, I don't know how to explain.
If white parents don't start having these conversations, I think things are going to get worse.
Why are the police treating people different? Can't they get in trouble for treating people differently?
White people haven't been having these conversations with their children because they don't have to.
What do you mean they don't have to? It's just, again, it goes back to what I said earlier on in this video at some point, where I said that the media and the political establishment, they allow certain narratives or certain stories to reach fever pitch in many respects, or many occasions, but they only also allow stories to reach, like, the #1 top headline that's spoken about across the country, or in an American context, or in the case of George Floyd, across the world. But yet there was an identical story of a lad, a white boy, called sorry, Tony Timper, sorry, who even I wasn't aware of. Why? But of course you never are aware of them. Died in a near enough identical manner. Only difference being, if I recall correctly, was that Tony Timper never asked to be put on the ground. Tony Timper phoned the police for help, if I remember correctly, because he was out. He had something wrong with him, and I think that's equally, if not more grotesque than the situation that unfolded pertaining to George Floyd, right? But one was publicised all over the nation of America, all over Scotland, the UK at large, but in Scotland especially, and as a result we've had a fucking hate crime bill, we've had anti-racism education reformation coming our way, all because of George Floyd. You know, we have a Stephen Lawrence Day. Where's Chris Donald Day? Most people don't even know about Chris Donald, but they know all about Stephen Lawrence. The same principle applies. Whenever a white person is killed, or shot, or hurt, or anything, by a police officer, not a fucking peep. Whenever a white person is murdered, or raped, or robbed, or assaulted by a black, not a fucking peep. But the minute the roles are reversed, racially speaking, you hear all about it. And that is why this BAME can sit here on our Dear White Parents programme and say, white people don't need to have these conversations. No, No, there's plenty of examples as to why they should feel like they might need to have these conversations. But my point again is, just before I play any more of this is American nonsense, right? America is a lot further down the track than we are in Scotland or in the UK at large, right? But the problem is, as I said at the start, this has been included by the Glasgow Education establishment, an organisation, one of many, a myriad of these fucking people exist.
You guys know what it means to have white privilege?
When you're not the target of the discrimination, it's not as visible to you, and
And the absolute irony of this, when you're not the target of discrimination, despite the fact every single policy that comes out in America as well as Scotland now, all the rhetoric, all the political talking points, it's all geared towards implying, whether or not directly or indirectly, that white people have privilege, and they don't face discrimination, which in and of itself is discriminatory in its nature. It drives me nuts. And as I've said before, what pisses me off the most is they are targeting our children in America, in Britain, in fucking France, everywhere.
invisibility is a freedom.
What do you think it looks like to see somebody be racist? Does it always look like somebody shouting the N-word and burning a cross, or do you see it in little places?
The talk is this conversation that Black parents have with our Black children to prepare them for, in essence, this racist world.
Oh, that one there. Wait. This one here is a doozy. Because it's been since revealed, like they tried to imply this was some angry white Karen. It's since been revealed that he deliberately antagonised her. He deliberately did this. And why shouldn't she be somewhat fearful? Why is it wrong for a woman walking her dog to be somewhat fearful of a black man, or any man in general, but in this case a black man, who approaches her for no reason and starts being antagonistic? Why shouldn't she be fearful, but instead she's mocked and berated because she's white? You didn't hear the clarification to that story though, did you? No, you didn't. But you heard all about it when it was the angry racist Karen.
It's illegal to have an church.
Justice for him.
We're trying to arm our children, helping them to understand that when people treat you differently, this is why, and this is how we respond.
Trying to
Some
arm
white
your children, is that right, Oi? Well, no, what you're doing is you're propagandizing your black children. You're making them believe that the world owes them a living. You are creating racial tension in and of itself. There's plenty. Look at the fucking statistics. The vast majority of black deaths and black criminality, the victims are other blacks. But also on top of that, rapes, for example, next to non-existent white men raping black women. Plenty of blacks raping white women though, isn't there, eh? For one example, where's the justice for them? Nah, fucking course not.
Understand that when people treat you differently, this is why, and this is how we respond. Some white parents I teach my child to treat everyone equally, to treat everyone fairly, and that's inadequate. It is not enough.
It's inadequate to treat everyone equally. See, that's fucking It's exactly the same as the anti-racist educator here in Scotland talking about how a colourblind society is problematic. Well, there's this woman here reiterating the same principle by saying that it's inadequate for a child to be raised up to see everybody equally. That's inadequate. So you can't win. You just can't fucking win.
Enough. Children fairly, and that's inadequate. It is not enough. Children, whether you've taught them to be mean or not, are making sense of the world around them. What's beautiful and what's not, who gets to be a certain role and who doesn't. If we aren't the ones teaching them, then who or what is?
What is racism and what do you think about it?
Have you ever seen somebody treated unfairly because of the color of their skin?
The talk sounds like it's this one-off thing that you do, but it's really a continuous conversation.
Do you remember why they were protesting?
No, I don't.
What about you? Have you ever caused racial harm before?
It's really hard to hear, well, this is a hard conversation. I don't want to make my child sad. You don't want to make your child sad, and I don't want my child to die. These are not equivalents.
What? Oh. My God, man. I don't want my child to die either, you know? But if we continue to import people from the third world, there's a fucking possibility that he might get robbed one day, he might get assaulted, you know, because they're quite prone to that type of thing. I'm being judgmental now, ain't I? Ah.
Do you remember the first time you saw someone being treated unfairly because of race, or that you saw things that seemed not right to you?
You know, I just did not get it back then. And I had to go back and apologize and say, I was so ignorant to this. Like, I can't believe I said this. Everything I was
I'm sorry, I can't do this. I just can't do this. No. We're done. We're done. Just to reiterate one final time, though, before I do go. This has been incorporated, in an educational compilation for Scotland. So, I don't know what I'm supposed to say, really. I can't stress enough how important it is that people pay attention to what's really going on in our schools in Scotland. Because it's got to fucking stop. And one step in the right direction to making it stop is for people to pay attention. Because they're getting away with this stuff. They're getting away with far too much. Oh my days. There it is. Dear white